thank you so much for taking time out of your day to hang out with me. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about, well first actually I really wanted to address something. So my inbox has been completely, honestly, overflooded with PMs about the videos that have been taken down, 1 through 12, with Claire and I. So now it's just that first episode of me introducing Homespun and why it's called what it's called. So a lot of you actually have no idea why Claire isn't in the episode anymore. I'm starting a new job as a kindergarten teacher on Monday. So that's one big thing. There's no way that we could have could have continued podcasting on together because we live an hour away, which is just pretty far anyway. And neither of us have a car. So yeah, I have a new job and we live too far away, so it just kind of made it unmanageable to get together and podcast and such. But as far as why the videos have been taken down, that wasn't a decision on my part. It was just that Claire didn't feel comfortable having them up. So I hope that you guys can all understand that. And yeah, so that's the reason, unfortunately. I'm sorry for those of you who missed out on the last episodes or who wanted to go back and look at the show notes, because I know a couple of people said that as well. That there were some projects and things that they really wanted to try out and knit. So if you have a question or if you remember any of those things that Claire or I were knitting, just give each of us, just write us a message and we will definitely get back to you with maybe what the project was, or we can kind of, chat a little bit about that. So yeah, I wanted to talk about my cushions because I think Renee mentioned something about them, and they're pretty special. And it seems like, I know now there's just one episode of me by myself, but it seems like I kind of maybe include my grandma a little bit in the opening of these episodes. So these cushions here were actually never cushions. I made these cushions because whenever I go to my grandma's house back in America, we always look through her craft room. And she has the most amazing craft room. As you guys all know, my grandmother had a homespun house, this company that she and her friends created and shared. And so she was always crafting, and my grandpa is a woodworker, and he actually as well, he had a lot of his wooden things in a homespun house. But anyway, so my grandma and I, we always look through her craft room, which is full of loads of different kinds of crafts. And she kind of always passes some things down to me and gives me some things, maybe gives me some new crafts that I maybe want to try out that I've never tried before. She always sends me back to Germany with loads of really fun, interesting things that have just neat stories behind them. So this cushion, this is cushion number 1. And this is cushion number 2. And so this cushion was made by, or this front piece of needlework was made by my great-grandma. So my grandma Sue, her mother, Ruby, which if I have another daughter, I want to either have her first name be Ruby or her middle name be Ruby. So I have Elodie Sue and then someone with Ruby in it because my mom and I always joke that I am my grandma Ruby reincarnated. But anyway, yeah, I kind of bond with her a lot. And my grandma always says that if I could have met my grandma Ruby, we would be total kindred spirits, and we would be the best of friends. And she just seems like she's really amazing. So anyway, my grandma Ruby I think my Aunt Ethel made this one. Yes, my Aunt Ethel made this one, who is Ruby's sister. My grandma's aunt, so she would be my great-great aunt. My mother's godmother. And anyway, so she made this needlework piece. And then I told my grandma that I would maybe like to make them into cushions, so that's what I did. And I made them into cushions with this gray or brown corduroy fabric, which actually my grandma had, I think when she was little, she made a pair of pants or something with them, or her mother made her a pair of pants with this brown corduroy fabric. So this is the other one, and this is the one that my Grandma Ruby made. Aren't they gorgeous? They're all made out of wool. They're a bit scrunched because they've been sitting on the sofa, and but yeah. And then that brown corduroy fabric that my grandma used to make some clothing out of. So I really love these. I was actually really nervous to sew into them because they are such, heirloom pieces and such special pieces. And first I thought about making them into cushions for the dining table, but then I thought, no, it's perfect for the sofa. They're in the main room where everyone is. You see them all the time, and I just think they're too beautiful to kind of pack away. And I can't believe my grandma had them. I can't believe that she had them packed away in a drawer for so long. But I know when I sent her a picture of the finished cushions, she was super excited and really happy to see that I actually made and created something with them and have them on my sofa. And I will be so excited for the time that she can come, and she better come. Because she's been to Germany once to visit me, but I would really love her to come back again, and just to really spend a lot of time with her. And I think that she'll think it's really neat to see these finished and up on my sofa. So the other thing that I wanted to share are the yellow socks that I talked about last week. And these are the ones that as well my Grandma Ruby made. She knitted and crocheted and quilted, and just like my grandma, just like me, we're really into a lot of crafts, and we want to be as crafty and creative with our time as we possibly can. I don't know what I would do if I couldn't be crafty, if I couldn't knit, if I couldn't sew, if I couldn't even crochet, if I couldn't cross stitch, embroider. There are so many loves that I have, but and I think that's really neat that it has been passed down. I would really like to start Elodie very soon on these little wooden knitting things with the hooks on top, and you just basically kind of make a tube. I think that that's something she could honestly do right now. So I've seen them around, and I think about purchasing one for her to kind of get her involved in working with yarn and wool, because she's always asking me, "Mommy, meine Wolle, ich möchte mit Wolle spielen," which means that she wants to play with my yarn, and she's always playing with my spinning wheel, which I will share with you guys as well. I think I'll tell that story again sometime soon, because the video is no longer there, and I think it's a really neat and special story. So I got a spinning wheel for Christmas, and there's a really neat story behind it for those of you newer viewers. But these are the socks. So here's the first one, which is intact, and this is very soft wool. I know my grandma always said that, oh my goodness, there's a mistake. There's a mistake. Or maybe we can call it like a beautiful imperfection or something. But how crazy that I hadn't even noticed this until now. So here is here's the cable. And then here is the mistake, right there. Yeah. I feel bad calling it a mistake, but yeah, I wonder what size of needle she knit this on. I guess I would imagine a 1 or a 0 even. It's so fun to look at the way that that people knit their socks, because there are so many different sock constructions, and she just has a knit 2, purl 2, rib, which is what my grandma does, which is what I do. And then, like I said in the last episode, this pretty cable, and almost all of the socks that she knit that my grandma showed me have this cable down the side, and I really love how fine that cable is. It's really nice, and it looks like her sock construction is it's kind of different. The shaping of the toe, it's definitely different than the one that I do, but the heel and the foot and the decreases and everything else look like my grandma and my construction. My grandma's is a tad bit different than mine, but for the most part we have the same sock that we knit. So here is the hole in the second one, which is a huge bummer, but I don't know, should I darn that or should I just leave it? I kind of think I'll just leave it. So I have these hanging in my craft area of Robert and my bedroom, and just kind of showing them off because they're really special. So I don't know if it's worth darning because I kind of feel like it's not my work. I don't want to mess with it. It was something my great grandma made, something that's really special, obviously. And so I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you think it's worth darning and then even maybe wearing, which is a thought? Or do you think I should just leave it as is and keep it as a decoration? I'm thinking, I don't know. I don't know, that's why I'm asking. So that is these lovely yellow socks. But you know what I was saying before I got off track is the fact that they're so soft. My grandma always told me that, and for obvious reasons, there wasn't a huge choice of yarns, and they weren't the softest. So I'm kind of shocked at how soft this is. But those are really special, and I really, really love those. So what am I working on? What have I been working on this week? One thing that I've been working on is something that I worked on and started, I don't know, maybe a month ago. It's my Cozy Memories blanket. And I think this is kind of something that I really fall in love with, forget about maybe for a week or something, or two, and then I fall really, really in love with it again. So this is my progress on it so far. I really, really love it. I just think it's so beautiful. Like I've mentioned in the past, it's something that's so not me, but it is entirely me. Usually I like order in a lot of things, and I just like everything to be very the same kind of. And so for all of these scraps, it's just kind of odd, but I absolutely love it. And this is a blanket that is only using scraps from projects that I've done. I'm not using any person's other scraps. I'm not using just random sock yarn that I have around. It has to be from things that I have knit or am currently working on. I even think about possibly using some yarn that my grandma has knit some socks or things out of, because I kind of want to tie her into this. And while I initially intended this blanket to be a blanket of only my scraps, I really toy with the idea of incorporating my grandmother's scraps into the blanket. So I think about asking her, she just had knee surgery, by the way. She just got a new knee put in. So she's in rehab for rehabilitating her knee. And so you guys send her positive thoughts and wish her a quick recovery, because I really obviously hope that for her. And we usually talk every single day, my grandma and I usually call her, but since she has been in rehab, I haven't really been able to get a hold of her. So that kind of stinks. But as soon as I finish this, I want to call her and ask her about her little scraps. Maybe she can send me a little bag, because I know that she has so many scraps that she is always like, what do I do with these? And she always knits these Jacob socks, or Joseph socks, from Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat. And so she calls them her Joseph socks, and she uses her scraps for that sort of thing when she feels inspired to do it. So Amanda of Hey Pork Chop, and as well the Once Upon a Time the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, asked me how I make these, and I've had a couple of people asking me. So I call this my Cozy Memory Blanket. There's a pattern online called, I think, the Patchwork Recipe, which I've used as inspiration. I by no means follow the recipe. I saw the picture, I really liked it, and I've created my own. So in my pattern, I cast on 20 stitches, but the way that I do it, you don't have to There are no ends to seam other than your cast on edge and your bind off edge. So all that I do is for the first square that you start, so you cast on 40, and it's basically this is 20 and this is 20, and your decreases make this sort of a shape. Here, let me find one where you can really see it. So your decreases then make this sort of a line down the middle. So I'm just going to explain this really quick. You can look on my project page for a little bit, maybe if you're a little bit confused. And also in the pattern online, all of the things are going this way. There's no diamond shape. If you look at my squares, there's a diamond shape in the middle. So here creates a diamond shape. It's all in just a placement of how you put your squares. So when you're adding a new square, you always have to cast on at the edge where this point, so here's the line and there's the point, is not. So you cast on here and then you pick up 20 stitches here. And then you pick up these side 20 stitches. So then you have 40 stitches on your needle. Okay, so I have 40 stitches on my needle right now. So then I'm going to, for the first round, you're always doing it in garter stitch. So for the first round, you have a stitch marker in the middle, so 20, stitch marker, 20. And then you would knit 18, knit 2 together, pass the stitch marker, and then you knit 2 together through the back loop, and then you knit 18. The wrong side, you just knit. So you're decreasing every other round. It's very, very simple. If someone wants like an actual video on it, that would be very simple for me to make, and I can do it sometime this week. So just mention that if you actually want a video. So there is that. It's coming along nicely. It's really fun. I think I maybe did 8 squares this week. And it has to be put on hold sometimes because there isn't a ton of sock yarn for me to knit with this. So I really am adding a square when I finish a project, or maybe when I find an old ball of yarn that I had made a project from a while ago. My mom and dad also sent me a box full of some odds and ends of yarn from projects way long ago when I was a teenager. And that's what I added this time, some of those. And then I also added from one of the projects that I'm working on right now, which is my socks. So you guys, I know that in the last episode I was working on these fancier socks from the, oh God, what's it called? From Interweave. From the Interweave book. 25 favorite socks, which I still really love. And so I watched In a Snit podcast. I really, really love this podcast with Sarah and Christy. It's honestly one of the ones that I really look forward to each week. And it's bi-weekly, which is kind of a bummer because I would love to watch it every week. And so Sarah, she currently has 2 pair of socks on her needles, which she says isn't so common for her. Same as me, you know, I always just have 1 sock on my needles. And she said the reason for this is because then she can have, you know, just a really simple, relaxing knitting on her needles. You know, just a plain vanilla sock or a really simple pattern sock, one that you don't even really have to think about. And then she has a more complicated sock project that she has to think about. So I thought that was a super awesome idea, Sarah. And I think I want to give that a go. I really like the idea of having that 1 pair of sock always that you're just knitting on. That's just a plain Molly sock for myself. And because I always have that on my needle. So then I think about doing the same thing as Sarah and go about treating that second sock as you know, another project. Because my plain socks it's just something that I'm going to knit, regardless of whatever else is going on in my life, whatever else is going on my needles. I will always have a plain sock on my needles. It's just something that I love to work on. It's easy to take with. I don't know. It's something that my grandma has always done, so I feel like I should do it. And so I love that idea. I really, really love that idea. And I think that soon I will cast on another pair of just fun socks. Which one? I don't know. I really love the Hermione's everyday socks. I know everyone and their mother is knitting these socks, but they are, it's just a pretty simple texture, but they're really, really nice. And I love the Cineva socks that I knit. I know in the last episode I also said that I'd never really wear the Cineva socks are by Lena Gerald. And I wear those quite often. They are my warmest socks. They're knit with Regia Classic Trend tweed. And I wear those a lot. So this is knit with Spin Monkey's fiber, her sock yarn. And let's see if I have the colorway card. This is Perry's Cove. It is 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. And she has a coupon code in her shop. It's still running until February. I believe the end of February, actually. Just Homespun. Just write in Homespun and you get 20% off. So, okay, to talk a little bit about this yarn. When I first started knitting with it, I'm going to be honest and say that I was not super sure what I felt about it, how it felt. It feels really, really awesome and soft in the skein, but once I started to knit it up, it felt fine in my hands. It's not like it was rough or anything. But yeah, I was a little unsure. It kind of reminded me, it exactly reminded me of Wollmeise, which I've knit with before, and I have a current project on hold. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. That's being knit with Wollmeise. And so I had heard from someone in the forum, they said that if you wash Wollmeise, it gets amazingly soft. And they said you will never turn back. You will love Wollmeise. It is just amazing once it's washed. So I thought, you know what? This totally reminds me of Wollmeise, this sock yarn. You know, maybe I need to wash it. And I did, maybe. So I only washed a little bit of the cuff, or no, almost all of the cuff, I think. And then I just hung it on the drying rack and I turned the heat on so that it was dry in the morning. And oh my God, you guys, it is amazing. I believe it's almost exactly like Wollmeise. I would be surprised if it is not the same formula. So, it is wonderful. It is so, so, so lovely. I know that these socks are going to wear really nicely. And the color, it's so vibrant and beautiful. I get so excited every time I get to this plummy purple. I love knitting those little plummy purple flecks. I've been super into this plum color lately. So yeah, I'm having fun knitting these. Like I said, I'm still thinking about casting on a more complicated sock. I'm almost to the heel. I can't decide how long I want it to be. I knit one of my squares with this already. One of my cozy blanket or cozy memory squares. Here it is. And yeah, so I can't decide how long I want it to be. That might be fine. So there is that. The next project that I'm working on is my shawl. So, I'm knitting the Whippoorwill by Karina Spencer. And, whoops. I've made quite a bit of progress on it. So I think I have 17 more rows left, but each row has about 500 stitches and they're growing. So, I wish I would have brought the pattern so I could have showed you exactly in the picture how far I am. But you know I'm 17 rows left, so I have I have 2 rows of contrasting color. Now I'm at the row where I have to go back to this main color, which is a huge bummer. It's a huge, huge, huge bummer because, so This is the Evil Ocean colorway by Lanai Yarn, which is my most favorite yarn ever. It really, really is. Lanai, or it's Lanai. It's Lanai. I've been saying it wrong all the time. And yeah. So this is the Evil Ocean colorway by Lanai Yarn. Vanessa. Vanessa's the dyer. And I bought 2 skeins of this. So I just completely ran out of the first skein. This is all that I have left. So this was the final amount. The thing is, I only have one more main color band to knit, and it is only this much, which really is such a bummer because I really don't want to reskein this. I don't want to cake it up, and I would have loved to have just saved it and used it for something else. So then I also toyed with the idea of not doing a third main color round and just doing everything else in this coral color. But I don't think so. I think I'll just reskein it. I mean, why don't I want to cake this up? I don't even know exactly. This yarn is so soft and so bouncy, and like I've said before, it feels like you're knitting with yarn infused with lotion or something, and it's going to block out beautifully. And so this is the first ripple round, and it's really, really nice. So it will be finished by Saturday, which is the 1st, which is also my mom's birthday. So you guys can totally all wish her a happy birthday. Yeah, so the last night that I worked on this, I drank this amazing rest tea by Tazo. I love, love, love Tazo teas. I haven't seen them in Germany. I haven't really looked for Tazo tea, but this one is delicious. My favorite is Calm. Another person wrote me and said that they really liked Zen, so I would like to give that one a try as well, but this one was so delicious. She also sent me another tea, which I haven't tried yet, but I'm really looking forward to. I think it's a vanilla caramel tea, which sounds super interesting, but really delicious as well. So maybe I'll have a cup of that later today. Right now I'm drinking some coffee. I'm drinking the hazelnut one that my parents sent me for Christmas, and I really, really love it. I love flavored coffees because it's not a common thing here in Germany. But I honestly love them. I really like plain natural coffee too, but flavored coffee is so nice to have every once in a while. And the hazelnut one is delicious. Robert and I really kind of look forward to it as a treat because it's not something that we get all the time. I think we maybe have 3 bags a year or something like that. And we go through coffee like crazy. We go through a whole bag in a week or so. We drink a lot of coffee. So there's that project. And yeah, so that's all of the current projects that I'm working on. I haven't finished anything, but we can talk about the Shawl Knitalong because it's wrapping up on Saturday, like I just said. So that is very exciting. And so many people are involved. The more I look at the forum, the more I see how many people are involved in the Shawl Knitalong. I am honestly a bit shocked because, you know, this podcasting journey hasn't been very long, and to already have so many people involved and interested in joining this knit-along is just, it's unbelievably amazing. It's very exciting, and it's just overwhelmingly awesome. So the 2 prizes are, so one person will get to pick from either the purple skein of sock yarn from Spin Monkeys, or this kind of yellow honey, it's called Golden Child, sport weight yarn. The sport weight has 270 yards, and the sock yarn has 400 yards. So I don't know how true these are showing up on the camera, but this is a really blue-purple toned yarn, and this is a color that's very hard to describe. It's a honey colored with kind of like a green undertone. And then the other person is getting these Rolags from Fondant Fiber. The Rolags are Shetland Merino, Bamboo, and Silk. Now I've already spun. I have these same exact Rolags. They're purple. They're very pretty. They're purplish gray. And they were a dream to spin. That was so nice of Fondant Fiber and Spin Monkeys to send us for the giveaway. Something else that I wanted to mention. Somebody has already donated some money to the podcast. Just completely donated. And I wanted to thank you so much, because the amount of money that you donated is exactly enough that it will cost for me to send these prizes out to the winners. So that helped so much. That was so lovely of you. Thank you very, very much, and I very much appreciate it. You are wonderful. While we're talking a little bit about spinning, Louise of Spin City, UK sent me some goodies. So I would like to share those with you. I got this very, very fun, I think it's made out of resin with candy-filled spindle. Isn't that neat? I haven't spun with it yet, but I would really, really like to do it this week. So it has the sprinkles, it has little stars in there, but I think this is really fun. So this is from Spin City 2K. And then she also sent me some fiber to play with. And because this is quite heavy, this is definitely something only for plying or for making more of a worsted weight yarn. So she sent me this fiber, which is, I think it's called her lavender fiber, but it's crazy looking, isn't it? So it's a bat of fiber. I have not even opened it yet. So let's open this together. Let's see how easy this is. Hopefully it doesn't take me 5 hours. Wow, she has really... I think I might need a scissors. All right. So let's open this together and see if the inside looks as nice as the outside. Wow, it's really pretty. So I don't want to... So there it is. There's even some like yellow in there, and it's very natural looking, the fiber is, isn't it? It's unlike any bat I have really ever seen before. It's neat with the baubles in there and the flex. It's very, very unusual, but I think it will be a lot of fun to spin with. And I'm not sure if I will spin this on my wheel. Oh, look at all of this yellow. If I will spin this on my wheel, or if I should use my spindle from Louise. We will see, but I think that you will be seeing this spun up some way or other next week. The sad thing about my spindle is, or my spinning wheel, is so on the spinning wheel there are these, it's kind of like baker's twine things that spin the wheel, and one of them broke. So I have to find some way to repair it so that I can spin again, because I have not spun on my wheel for a little while, and it's been so sad. Because when I first got it, the first couple of weeks, maybe the first 2 weeks in January, I was kind of obsessed with it. And I loved spinning on it. I tried to do it in the morning when I woke up because it was super meditative and relaxing and wonderful. Spinning on a wheel is a whole different experience. Same with drop spindling. I mean, they're both very, very relaxing and very meditative. Like I said, it totally brings you into this completely different mind state than knitting. Even if you're doing like my sock knitting, where it's something that I don't even have to think about, but spinning, if you guys haven't spun, you need to. You need to do it. It's brilliant. So hopefully, not hopefully, you guys will see something from that bat a little bit later. While we're talking about things that I have received, I have been seeing everywhere this Patons Kroy sock yarn. Everywhere. And I have fallen in love. I have fallen deeply, madly, hopelessly in love with this sock yarn. And we don't have this in Germany. We do not have Patons Kroy or Patons sock yarn. So there is a wonderful, lovely lady who I'm not going to say her name because she didn't give me permission, but who I follow and follows me on Instagram. And she's also a viewer of the podcast, so hi. You're so nice. She basically communicated with me and told me that she could pick me up some. I would just have to PayPal her the money, and she would get me some and ship it over here to me in Germany. So she did, and I gave her the money, and she sent me enough skeins to make myself a pair of socks, and maybe even a pair for Elodie. It will definitely be enough. And add a square to my blanket. How amazing is that? It's just crazy, the generosity of people, that she was willing all the way over in America to say, hey, I know you like this yarn. Do you want me to pick it up for you? And she sent me the tea as well. She's the one who sent me the tea, so that was a super, super lovely gift. And I'm so grateful. I'm very excited to cast these on. Very, very excited. So it's funny because she initially actually got me 5 skeins, and because I wanted to knit a pair for my husband and myself, and then my husband saw them and he didn't really like them, and he thought, oh, you don't need to knit me a pair out of that, which I was shocked because this totally looks like something Robert would love. And as soon as I got the yarn, he fell in love as well. So I don't have enough to make myself and him a pair of socks. So maybe these will either be a pair of socks for Elodie and me, or they will be a pair for Robert. Time will tell. I kind of think I will probably end up knitting him a pair of socks with them. But I love it so much that I kind of think that I need a pair. I probably will knit a pair for myself. I'm terrible. So that is that. We can go on now to talking about a future knit along. So I asked in the Ravelry groups what everyone thought about possibly doing a knit along or the Ravelenics. I'm not going to participate in the Ravelenics this year, unfortunately, for those of you who are hoping that I was. But we're doing a knit along. And we are not just doing a knit along, we're doing a joint knit along with Emily from What Just Watchin'. And it's basically fingering weight February. So it goes from February 1st until the middle of March, maybe extended. We're not sure exactly. We're going to talk about it a little bit more, but it's fingering weight. And I know on her podcast, she's doing sweaters, but you can knit anything your heart desires in fingering weight yarn. A pair of socks, a shawl, a sweater, which I will be knitting. So it can be something that you guys have started already. It's not a big deal because I'm knitting the Grace cardigan, which I have already started. It was put on hold because of my shawl. This is the cardigan that is knit with my Wollmeise yarn. So it's knit with this super bright, electric, awesome green Wollmeise yarn. And I'm knitting the Grace cardigan by Jane Richmond, which Grace from Juniper Grace talks about. She knitted and wore it in her wedding, which is really cool. So let's see how good of a... So this is the picture of the cardigan. You can go and look it up. It's just Grace. And it's by Jane Richmond. It's very pretty. So that is what I will be knitting for our fingering weight February knit along. Someone also mentioned doing a knit along of socks like you've never knit them before, which I think is a very cool idea. Maybe in March. because I really, really like that. I like that for any sort of thing. Sweater like you've never knitted before, mittens like you've never knitted before, but socks because I'm always knitting socks and I kind of, like I said, want to venture out in my sock knitting. So I think that is a super brilliant idea. So maybe in May, or not May because the fingering weight February goes from February until the middle of March. So then maybe in April. Anyway, we can talk about that later. So the Shawl KAL ends Saturday the February 1st. You can have it in by the evening. I will close the thread sometime on Sunday. And then that exact day is when fingering weight February/March comes into play. So like I said, it can be something that you have already cast on. You can't have too much of it done, obviously, but as you see, I just have this much of my cardigan knit. So it can be something that you've been working on previously, something that you stopped working on a long time ago and you need to finish. Some other things that I have been working on are my Once Upon a Time Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery Stitch-Along. So this is the pattern. The first one that's come out is, so it's called Once Upon a Time, like I said, and every month a new cross stitch comes. So it's a sampler, and here it is. So it's very big, and in the end I think it's like 17 inches by something, but it's quite large. I mean, this is my, it's kind of wrinkly, but this is my cut piece of fabric. But I've finished a little bit. And this is something, so this and the shawl are the two things that I'm really going to focus on this week, because the new pattern for this comes out February, which is Saturday the 1st, the same day as the shawl needs to be finished. And I want to start that on February. I want to have this one finished, pretty looking, and behind me in January. I really want to keep up with having the months finished when that month finishes. So I'm having really fun working on this. Cross stitch is something that I think I just kind of in the summer really kind of get more into doing, because in the winter it's really nice to have these big wool knit projects on your lap and just to be cozy and knitting them. It's definitely fun with cross stitch as well, and I'm having a lot of fun doing it. It's really fun to be working on a cross stitch in the winter, because like I said, it's not something that I normally do a lot in the winter. Sometimes I get in my cross stitch zones, but I've really been into my knitting lately. I definitely am knitting though in the summer, don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm just cross stitching and because it's warm I put my knitting aside, but I'm not working on, usually I tend not to be working on sweaters and things like that. I maybe am more so working on a shawl, definitely socks, and smaller items, I think. Although I will keep up with working on my Cozy Memories blanket and things like that. But when the summer comes, we can see, you know, what happens and what progresses and what I'm generally working on. So the cross stitch is going along well. I look forward to showing you the first one completed next podcast. I've also been very busy this week updating the shop. I have some new fabrics coming. They should be in sometime next week, and I am over the moon excited about them. I have found a shop which I'm ordering from, which I wish I would have found when I first started ordering my fabric, because they have amazing fabric. And I'm very excited to receive this. I'm very excited to look at it, to get it in my hands, because you guys, you will be so excited. You will love this fabric. But I have been using up the fabric that I do have, which I also love. And I will show you what I've been working on. So these have not been ironed yet, Mom. In the last episode, I usually talk to my mom. I call her in America before she goes to work. And she asked me, Molly, are you not ironing your project bags? And I do. I iron them before I send them out, but she said that they looked a little bit wrinkly. So don't worry, this is not the way they look when they send them to you. And something else very exciting, my project bags now feature on the zipper this lovely, can you see it? Yeah. This lovely yarn. You can use it for whatever you want. You can take off the hook and use it as a stitch marker. You can keep it on your zipper. You can use it as a row counter, whatever you want. But I think that's adorable. So every bag will have that on it now. So this first one, this one has been selling amazingly well. And I can see why. It's called Grandmother's Garden. And it's just a really pretty shabby chic style bag. So this is my large sized bag. And this is an extra large, so this is a sweater sized bag. One of my friends, Sherilyn, actually ordered this, and then I decided to go ahead and make a second one. I don't have any this size in the shop, but if it's something that you want, I can definitely make this size of a bag. This is way more ideal for a worsted weight sweater or a larger sized sweater. So there's that one. It's the confections with a linen bottom. Then I finished my out in the pasture bags. This is a large one. I have large and medium sized ones, and then I have these ones which I think are really cute. This is called a Knitter's Best Friend, and it has cats and dogs, and it's really adorable. So that is that one in yellow, and then I also have it in blue, but I actually have to mail the blue ones out today because yesterday they just sold out. So all of the blue ones are gone, but I thought I'd show them anyway because I can still get the fabric, and if anyone really loves it, just let me know. And this one, I have a couple in the shop and they have not sold out yet, but this one currently is actually my favorite. So this is just called Tribal. Again, it needs to be ironed. Maybe this side is better to show. This one's Tribal, and I really love it. It's with these feathers and then the linen on the bottom. I think the linen gives a very nice touch. So here is a small out in the pasture. Here is an out in the woods. Walking in the woods, the trees and with the woodpecker. Here is a Once Upon a Time with the gray gingham bottom. I have one and I use mine all the time. That's mine. I love the Once Upon a Time one. Then I also have the Birds of a Feather with the beige linen bottom. The Mother Bee. And finally, Lucky Feather, large size project bag. One of the new fabrics that I did just get in, which someone has already pre-ordered, but just one. There will only be 5 left. But it is lovely. And this one, I will keep one of these bags for myself because I love it so much. So this is it. It is this extremely lovely teacup fabric. I am very much so in love with this. If you're not so much into this super shabby chic style teacup fabric, next week I have ordered another teacup fabric, and that one is more kind of contemporary looking. It's really nice, but it's definitely a lot more, like I said, contemporary and bright. It's not so pastel-y and shabby chic, which is completely my style. And yeah, so the new fabrics, there's a lot of like kind of fairy tale inspired things that maybe remind you when you were a little girl. It's very dreamy, it's very whimsical. There are some fun fabrics in there as well. Oh, you guys will love it. I'm so excited. I'm so excited on all of the projects that I'm working on. I don't foresee casting on anything new this week. I definitely am going to work on my shawl, my cross stitch, and my socks. I think those will be the main projects that I'm working on. And then, you know what? Maybe I will be casting something on because I will have my shawl finished. So then I will mostly just be working on my Grace cardigan, my socks, and my cross stitch. So we'll see. Maybe I will even start working on a totally new project like quilting, because I have these grandmother's garden hexagons, which my great grandmother Ruby started, and my grandma Sue passed down the pieces of the quilt to me. And Sherilyn, this all ties together. Sherilyn, my friend, sent me some cutouts for helping me create this hexagon grandmother's garden quilt. And I really think about working on that because it's all hand sewing. I'm going to completely hand sew this quilt because all of her pieces, I think there are over 100 pieces. I'll show them next podcast. All of her pieces have been hand sewn, and I want this to be a completely collaborative with my great grandmother. Even though she won't be able to see it because she's no longer with us. It would be a completely collaborative, hand-sewn quilt, which I think will be wonderful and very, very special, and I'm honored to have these pieces, and I look forward to showing you guys these pieces next week because I know that you will cherish them and think that they're as special, almost as special as I do. It was very, very lovely chatting with you guys today. I had a wonderful time, and I hope that you have a lovely weekend and a wonderful week ahead, and I look forward to seeing you next week.